Hello and welcome back. This is the final of Legacy Masters, which was held at NLG in Dandenong. This is Graham speaking, and with me I have Salt Mine Extraordinaire Sean Brown.
Yes, I am an extraordinaire.
We've got two combo decks here. Michael Webb playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils and Paddy Robertson playing Sneak and Show. How do you think this matchup's going to go, Sean?
Well, it's easy to say that they're going to just be two ships in the night passing by, but actually there's a bit of play. I think, of course, Paddy is going to be on the play here, so Webb will be a bit, his back against the wall. If Paddy has a really explosive, turn 1 or even turn 2 opener, this game can be done very quickly. But Webb does have discard to kind of prevent Paddy from comboing off or kind of push through his own combo. Yeah. So there's a bit of a balancing act between him there.
So instead of being just the straight turn 1 combo decks like, say, Belcher or Uxor spells, the Sneak and Show deck has counter magic, and the Ad Nauseam Tendril deck has discard to work with.
So there's a bit of interaction going on, but as I said, the early turns could very much be the defining part, especially in terms of Paddy. Paddy can just stick it to Webb, and of course, Webb does not have any counter magic.
That's right. With that being said, we've got sitting there in the middle of the table the prize that they're paying for today. So first prize is going to get a unlimited Mox Jet and a Underground Sea for the second place as well. I believe that's unlimited as well, but I would need to check sources.
Yes, I think I'm not sure. Aren't the unlimited ones like a bit darker?
They are.
I have unlimited Volks, and they're very much darker than revised Volks. Humble brags right
there. They've got larger text, but we're not quite clear enough to be able to see that
exactly.
here as well either.
But anyway, some big prizes on the line, especially the big Mox Jet. Always traditionally a Mox as the prize for the Masters events at NLG Dandenong. Paddy Robertson last year taking I think it was a Ruby, wasn't it? The Mox Ruby?
That's right.
Yeah, so taking down the Mox Ruby from Alec Ferguson on Charles Bug. And we'll see whether he can take it down again for the, second place, second time win.
So Paddy does have in his hand a turn 1 win. He's got City of Traders, 2 Lotus Petals, a Show and Tell which can be put in, a Show and Tell to put in a sneak attack, I should say, and he's got an Emrakul off that as well. So that could go quite badly, but instead leads on just a land on the Lotus Petal instead.
So I don't think he has a fatty to put into play, but he does have Jace the Mind Sculptor.
I missaw the Jace as a Emrakul instead, so that's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, so I think, he has the Jace the Mind Sculptor that he can actually play on turn 2.
Yeah, so and Michael leads on Gataxian Probe for life, which signifies he may have a Cabal Therapy floating around back there. But I can imagine just Paddy wanting to put in that Show and Tell as soon as possible and just trying to leverage any creature once again that he can get off that.
But the thing is, Paddy's hand is a bit of a, it's a bit of a rag. It needs a bit of a fix, right? And Jace the Mind Sculptor is the one who's perfect to fix a hand like this, right? He'll be able to find a fatty.
He can play it out next turn as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I know in the quarterfinals against Thomas Soletto in game 1, he did the same thing. A turn 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor, which he essentially just rode to victory.
I would assume that's the semi-final since he played me in the quarters.
Yeah, the semi-final, sorry, the semi-finals.
That Jace is one of those mirror-breaking cards. If one side has it and the other doesn't, it just does a lot of work.
Yeah. Again, though, against Ad Nauseam Tendrils, though, Jace might be a bit slow. That's the only issue here.
This is true, but Jace on turn 2 is a lot better than the normal Jace on turn 4 that we usually see out of decks like Miracles and Stoneblade.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so Webb. All right, Cabal Therapies, Paddy Robertson. What are we going to name here?
So we've got the 3 cards he knows about. He takes
the Show and Tell. So this is interesting because the Jace, as I said, really, Paddy needs to fix up his hand.
That's right. Well, I think he just drew a Show and Tell directly off the top after that as well. So completely nullifying that therapy. But I imagine we're seeing the land and Jace as you've suggested.
Yeah, so the turn 2 Jace. But I think I can understand Webb's Cabal therapy here because, as I said, there's a fine balance. You want to prevent your opponent going off as fast as possible because you can stick it to them as well, right? You can just Webb could kill him next turn if Jace doesn't find any counter magic or something like that. So I really don't know what's in Webb's hand. Maybe he is close to going.
That's right. Well, that was land, brainstorm, and something else, and 2 City of Traders get put back on top.
2 cities get put back. Webb draws
a fetch land. See if we can have a look at his hand at all.
Yep, so he's got goes for the brainstorm. Yep, so he's got a brainstorm. That's all good. Paddy has a little bit of a think about it, maybe bluffing some counter magic, maybe not.
So he doesn't have counter magic in his hand.
I think it's pretty low odds. If I was thinking as Webb that he plays Jace and draws Force of Will plus a blue card, but then again, brainstorming is very, very powerful and can give you all you need. But yeah, so here we see Webb taking that brainstorm, fetching off the Tarn, probably getting an Underground Sea.
Just trying to get the perfect hand sculpted before we see any further plays from Paddy's side.
Yeah, so I think we might be seeing... I saw a Duress hanging around in Mike Webb's hand, so he might be firing that off. But Duress not looking too great once a Jace the Mind Sculptor's on the table. And I think we see like the kind of spiraling effect of not taking the Jace with the therapy. Because Jace is really tying his hand together and making the discard a bit moot, isn't it?
That's right. It's just being able to brainstorm every turn for no mana is just an amazing thing. And that final card he drew off the brainstorm before was a Cataxian Probe, so shows him once again sneak attack and show and tell.
Yep. So we're probably a bit sad about his therapy from before, seeing that show and tell.
And I can imagine just before he goes off, we're going to see a Gataxian Probe on Michael's hand as well. But at the moment, Paddy's just going to be digging to see if he can find a
big creature.
A big creature.
Yeah, just looking for a big creature. Here he's going for the probe.
So he does that for life, gets his second City of Traders just to get the maximum number of cards down before he starts on the brainstorming.
Wow, Webb's hand actually not great.
Yeah.
So I think if I was Webb, I would have really liked to see the therapy on the Jace the Mind Sculptor earlier in the game, because Webb's hand is cantrip heavy, and he doesn't want the game to go like long, which like it looks like his hand is actually going to do, since there's a lot of cantrips.
He's still just looking for rituals and tutors there, and at the point where Paddy is in the game, he's about to go off, and
it's falling far behind because Jace is in play. So yeah, again, as I said, it's an interesting little dance. I think there's an instinct immediately as a combo player to say, Jace, whatever, he's slow, he's rubbish. But here, Paddy Robertson with the turn 2 Jace, it's really doing a huge amount of work.
Yeah, so Paddy hits a fetch land off the first brainstorm, and he's going to use that to cast an actual brainstorm, I guess.
I think he might, or he could be jamming the sneak attack here and getting ready for just a cantrip around next turn.
That's also a line of play. He is getting quite low off the ancient tome that he's been using. So
Tendrils doesn't need to do much. Storm count needs to be pretty low. I think Webb, though, is really just looking for some more rituals, and an Infernal Tutor is exactly what he's looking for, really, because he has the Lion's Eye Diamond for that explosive amount of mana. But rituals is something that would be nice, and we see a Cabal Ritual in his hand there.
So he leads off on the brainstorm, and we might even see the Ponder as the Preordain, I should say, is the functional
shuffle effect.
The shuffle effect, getting rid of those 2 cards off the top.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens.
He's got a fetch
instead.
Fetch for the perfect brainstorm. Probably getting a bad lands.
Just a bad land, going for all the jewels here.
Oh, all the pretty black bordered goodness. Thank you, Adrian Kiddo. So nice. So nice. But yeah, we could be seeing, again, I think we saw another Cabal therapy hanging out in Webb's hand, though, which is honestly not super great. So here, another Preordain.
So that's a ritual. No,
I think it was a ritual. He's looking for an Infernal Tutor.
Okay,
He's looking for. He found the Cabal Ritual. He has the LED. he's looking for the Infernal Tutor.
Yeah, and he just gets another land there in hand, which is not what you want to be seeing at this point.
So he's looking for a payoff spell, and he can't seem to get it. All right, so we're seeing again Jace brainstorming a bunch. Here another fetch to clean that up. Probably another brainstorm. Paddy's going to have a lot of looks. There is 8 creatures in there that he can find that will end the game.
Yeah, so we've got brainstorm, preordain, and we lead on the preordain.
Yeah, preordain. Oh, one's on top. That's a bad omen.
And what have we got here?
That's a bad omen indeed. Looks like it's Griselbrand. Yeah.
Puts it there.
It looks like he's going...
Draws 7.
Yeah, looking for the Emrakul.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. And that's an Emrakul. So 22 damage, Annihilator trigger, boom. Game over.
In the face. So yeah, as I said, Webb not taking that Jace the Mind Sculptor to start with kind of ends up biting him in the butt. And we end up seeing him not get anything really going there. So looking towards our sideboarding, for Paddy Robertson, I think we might see... there's a few things. I think the main one that's interesting in his sideboard is 3 Leyline of the Void is actually pretty useful if he has a few kind of dead cards in his main deck that, maybe some slow things. Like, even though Jace did a lot of good work there, I wouldn't be surprised if Jace is actually boarded out, because he is very slow usually, unless you have those kind of explosive hands.
Like, Ant has 2 main plans, which is the first one is Past in Flames and the other one is Ad Nauseam or Tutor Training. And just by putting Leyline of the Void in play, you turn off that Past in Flames method of winning unless they can get rid of it. So it's always nice. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Red Elemental Blast and possibly even Engineered Explosives as a one-off, or the Echoing Truth to deal with the Goblin tokens from Empty the Ruins.
I think Goblin tokens are interesting in these kind of combo matchups because they can be pretty spicy if you like Cabal Therapy, Empty, Flashback Therapy, kind of do all that kind of nuttiness. But at the same time, you can empty for a bunch and then die on the crackback. So that's kind of not really what... Again, it depends on the play. It might seem a bit more viable. Any things from Webb in particular he might be bringing in?
Yeah, sure. So his full sideboard is 2 Abrupt Decay, a Dark Petition, a Disfigure, 2 Dread of Night, 2 Echoing Truth, an Empty the Ruins, 2 Fluster Storms, 2 Hercules, a Tendrils, and a Xanted Swarm. The Xanted Swarm and the 2 Fluster Storms are the main things that I would be looking at. And maybe Echoing Truth just to deal with him putting a sneak attack in play. But really by that point, I feel that... if you're putting a sneak attack in play, most of the time it's going to be activated immediately.
You don't want to be too reactive playing this. Like, you want a Flusterstorm just to blunt that initial kind of turn 1 show and tell or something like that, and then kind of combo out. The Xanted Swarm in particular, actually talking to Michael Webb, I spoke to him and he said, I haven't played Xanted Swarm for a long time, but I expected a lot of Sneak and Show at this tournament, and that's why I put Xanted Swarm in my sideboard, because Xanted Swarm is really great. Not only can you just kind of cast it and it buzzes in there and does stuff, but you can also put it in off show and tell, attack with it, and then kill your opponent. So that's also a pretty exciting thing that could happen. But anyway, players are drawing their hands. Paddy has that turn 1 Leyline that we were talking about.
Yep, so Michael goes to 19 and removes Golden Tarn from the game.
Yes.
For, I assume, a basic... No, goes for an Underground Sea.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any Blood Moons to really fear here. Blood Moon actually not too effective against Storm. They have Petals and things like that, which means that it doesn't really short them out of mana too effectively. Again, the Leyline of the Void, somewhat effective. Maybe Webb can play through it. It's a Guild Pack Leyline of the Void. I like Guild Pack Leyline of the Void.
They are quite nice, and opening on Duress, taking the Forcible, leaving Paddy with 3 land, a Force, and a Griselbrand. So he's got quite a lot of work to do, and not really any cantrips or filtering to get to where he wants to be at the moment.
Yeah, so, if Webb can get through this Leyline, which Storm is actually, as I said, Leyline of the Void, Grave Hate, it's good, it's helpful, it's nice, but it's not the end of the world for a Storm deck. I think, if Leyline of Sanctity or something like that came into play, which some Sneak and Show lists do play, that would be a bit more problematic.
That definitely would be the case.
So here, a Brainstorm from Webb. Again, as we said, Paddy not really doing much. I don't think he really picked up anything for that turn there. He'd like to see a blue card. It looks like he just drew another land, actually. So a lot of work to be done in his hand there while Webb is brainstorming.
Yeah, and finds a fetch land and is going to get rid of some of the junk that he would otherwise have there.
Yep, so that perfect brainstorm. So Webb looking in really good shape here, actually, if his hand can get through this ley line. Again, the Cabal Ritual in his hand, isn't too great, but otherwise, I think he's in good shape here. If Paddy, he's seen that Paddy's not doing much. He has a lot of time, so I think I would say Webb is a little bit favoured so far, but things can very quickly change.
Yeah, so just shuffling up and just a question of Michael working out exactly what it is that he needs from his deck with these next couple of cantrips.
Looks like another therapy, so I think he might be shooting for either Force of Will or Gristlebrand. Shoots for the Force of Will. And, shoots for the Gristlebrand.
So Paddy a little bit too fast on the trigger finger there.
Yeah, I actually like this because, as I said, Ant is really good at playing through Force of Will, right? It doesn't care that much, and stopping Paddy from actually, comboing. Webb's laughing when he's just kind of sitting around, cantripping around, and sculpting his hand, while Paddy really has nothing going on.
Okay, so just playing out an extra fetch land.
Webb stocking his hand with a bunch of rituals. Paddy draws a Brainstorm, so this could fix up his junky hand pretty effectively. And we see
Show and Tell and Emrakul.
Okay, Show and Tell, Emrakul. So it looks like here he can just Show and Tell in Emrakul while also having Force backup, pitching that Show and Tell. So Brainstorm doing God's work here. Fixing up that. As I said, Paddy really had nothing going on, but
just shows the power of that card and plays out the Ancient Tomb. And
looks like Emrakul's going to hit the stage. Webb's going to be really scrambling. I mean, Emrakul's not the end of the world, though. Gristlebrand is much more threatening as a fatty to put into play because it can draw him into more counter magic in particular. Emrakul just kind of sits there and means to Webb,
you don't have a board.
Yeah, well, not even that. It just means he needs to win on the next turn.
Right. He is getting very close to the point where he can do that. He does have a lot of rituals in place.
Yeah, exactly.
But, just a question of if he can get any of his tutors to go with it.
He also needs to fight through that Force of Will, which now became live as well. So, I think taking the Gristlebrand is correct, because if Gristlebrand was Show and Telled in, he'd be in a much worse situation. But here, Paddy having that Force of Will, so Webb just passes. Looks like he didn't have enough to go. And he's down on...
So I think he didn't have any cantrips and drew a Flusterstorm to go with his Hand of Rituals.
I think he has a Lotus Petal ready to go, though. So he's not out of the game. Lotus Petal can get the spell chain going. Draws a Ponder, which is not what you want to see. And probably just having a think whether he can do it. And he can't. Right? So Brainstorm was the winner of tonight.
Absolutely. And we saw that several times during the day as well. Just the amount of power that it has, and there are the prizes to the victor and the runner-up there.
Yep, so congratulations to Paddy Robertson taking it down with Sneak and Show, and Michael Webb, the runner-up, taking that Underground Sea.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for listening. This has been Team Cock Magic and the Salt Mine presenting Legacy Masters coverage. We hope to do this again in the future, so stay tuned to our Facebook page and to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah. Also, again, the Salt Mine, you can find us on the saltminesite.com. Check all that out. Lots of articles, lots of stuff. Again, we'll always be partnering up with TCM for any legacy coverage, so keep your eyes open. Catch you then.